So you have a very special booth dedicated to Rodin with about 20 pieces, 20 bronze.
Yes.
Could you speak about your choice and how you organize that?
Well, we were asked by the Tefaf organisation to do 2 stands this year, our regular stand, and also a special focus stand that had a specific idea that's behind it. And the focus stand is purely based on works by Rodin that are related to the gates of hell. The gates of hell were a commission that he was given to create 2 large doors, entrance doors, for the Museum of Decorative Arts. Unfortunately, the museum never got built, but Rodin received the money for the commission and he made that commission in its entirety. The doors then proved to be a source, a lifelong source for him of materials. So he would then take individual figures from the gates of hell and then sell them off as individual sculptures.
I thought it was the contrary, that he created figures and add them to the Porte de l'Enfer.
Well, that's a very interesting concept. I think that what I'm really saying is that yes, he had, you're absolutely right, he had the gates, which are the doors, and then he added sculptures as decorations. So yes, but the creative process was for the gates of hell. But when that commission never went through, he then took those sculptures back individually and made them as individual sculptures. So for instance, you can get, there's a marvellous piece there, which is a torso of a woman sort of bent back like that. If you then go and look at that torso, you can find it in his sculpture called Printemps Éternel, and it's actually the body of the female figure. So equally, there's another figure in the bottom right-hand side which shows a male figure bent backwards. He then took that back from the gates of hell, remodeled it, gave it a base, and it became the prodigal son.
And probably the most popular one is the Thinker, right?
I think the Thinker has been one of those images by Rodin that has become a universal in the universal image. When people ask me, what do you do? And I say, well, I deal in Rodin sculpture. If they're not quite sure who Rodin is, I just go, this one. And immediately they know what I mean, yes. Even the least art-educated people know that image. The other image, of course, is the famous Baiser, the kiss, and that originally was designed by Rodin to go where the Thinker is placed now. But what he decided was that the kiss was a little bit too romantic to be on the entrance to the gates of hell. So he took that down and replaced it with the Thinker.
But in fact, there's 2 types of creation in Rodin body of work. One is kind of iconic commercial, and there's another kind of creation which are really tormented bodies and extremely creative, no?
Yeah, I think again that's a very accurate understanding of the situation, and it's interesting that there are really 2 types of collectors that we have, and one group of collectors love the tormented, highly emotional, evocative images, and also sometimes even the images that are parts of bodies, perhaps a clenched hand or just a hard-cut female torso. And it's those images that appeal to a certain type of collector. And then there's another type of collector who loves what I call the sort of trophy images, the kiss, perhaps eternal spring, that sort of sculpture, which are... We'll wait until they go past. Maybe try again.
And so
there is second. Let's wait for you to do this. You have to cut this together. So the second group of sculptors are sculptors of collectors are really collectors who collect those trophy works like the Kiss and Eternal Spring, which are just big, beautiful sculptures, as opposed to the slightly more tormented images that
and more cutting edge. In fact, is very experimental.
Yes.
And we sometimes we ignore that about Rodin. But how is the market going for Rodin today? The bronze of Rodin?
There's been a major change in the market since the establishment of the Committee Rodin, which now provides certificates for every piece. There was a huge amount of uncertainty during the 1970s and 80s with all sorts of recasts and problematic pieces. But since the Committee Rodin have been established...
When was it?
I think they started in, I think it's 2006, I think, maybe 2003. And it's headed by a man called Jerome Leblay, who originally worked for the museum and now works independently, but has established this. And so every piece that we sell comes with a Committee Rodin certificate saying what date it was made, who the foundry is, what the markings are, everything like that. And that creation of these certificates has created a stability in the market. So everyone now knows, does it have a Committee Rodin certificate? Yes, it does. Okay, so it's genuine.
And so, is there a lot of demand for Rodin today?
Yes, there are, and it's interesting again. You know, with two very different sets of categories. One are the collectors who perhaps are looking for that particular hand or that particular mouvement de danse, and the other group of people who are interested in having a Rodin in their collection, and they probably want one of the more trophy works like the Kiss or Eternal Spring.
And for how many years are you working on Rodin?
Well, I started at Sotheby's. I was 15 years at Sotheby's, where I was director of their sculpture department, and then I left in '93, and I've been on my own since, and over the years really have just narrowed my field of dealing down into relatively few artists, particularly Rodin.
Merci, monsieur.
De rien.